Hi, welcome to Brainy Burst. This is Premvada and we are going through the CSS3 tutorials. So let's start with the multiple columns. There are times when we want to divide our web page into columns, or whenever we want to divide some content in columns, like the newspaper columns. We want to print some article that we want to display in the column type. So here are some properties for the column, like column count. This property specifies the number of columns an element will be divided into. So let's see the demo for this. I have created an HTML page with some data in it, and I have named it with the multiple columns.html. I have created a div tag, and in this I have written some data about Brainy Buzz, and over here in this style I have to mention the property. So remember that I'll be displaying it in the Chrome, so that is why I have to mention WebKit. For Opera you have to mention O. So I'll mention WebKit. Supposingly I want it to be displayed in 2 columns. So let's save it. I have already opened a page. It looks like this without the column count. If I refresh it, okay, so now you can see it has divided into 2 columns. So if you want, you can divide it into 4 columns also, 3 columns also, a number of columns in which you want. Another one is the column fill. This property specifies the way of filling columns, like balanced or not. This property is not supported in most of the major browsers like Chrome or IE or Opera, Firefox. In any of these browsers, this property is not supported. Another thing is the column gap. This property specifies the gap between the columns of the element. Supposingly, I have to mention WebKit also over here. I want the column 30 pixels. So right now I have some pixels over here. If I refresh it, it has increased a little bit. Or if I want less width over there, less gap, I can just reduce it. It's like this. It depends on you whichever property you want to use, like how many number of columns and how much gap you want. After this I have the column rule color. This will specify the color of the gap or line that is between the column. Before this color property, I have to mention the outset also. So like over here I have to mention the column style because it will not fill the gap. Obviously I have to write some, like if whether it is solid or double dot dash. So let's take it, there is a line between it. So now I can see that it is in green color. So this particular line, if you remove this, it will be in black color. So it depends on you which color you want in this. So we have seen the column rule style, then color, then the width, like the specifies the width of the gap or line between the columns. This is almost similar to the gap. is this particular width of the line, like the width I want. So your gap specifies the gap between the columns, and your width specifies the width of the line that is between the columns. This is the column rule. It is the shorthand property for all the column rule properties, like column rule width, column rule style, and column rule color. After this we had the column rule. It is the shorthand property for column rule properties. Column span specifies the number of columns an element should span, like so, like this. Then you have the column width. This is the width of the column. That means right now we have mentioned it 3 pixels. So light over here it is more than 300 pixels. So if we refresh it, is I think it's almost 300 pixels. If I include it as 200 pixels. So now, so this is the column width, specifies the width of the column, and columns is the shorthand property for the column width and column count. So this is the property for the multiple columns. Thanks and have a nice day.